Today we're checking out some of the best cases available for the Galaxy S25 Ultra. I think this might be the most cases that I've ever had in one video, so I'll leave links for everything covered in the description below. So let's go ahead and get started. The first case up is the official silicone case from Samsung. They've actually got a handful of colors to choose from. The one shown here is gray. This one's pretty rigid. It doesn't really flex much. Has a harder plastic on the inside. It has that nice and soft, classic silicone feel to it. You can see it's nice how they have the volume and power buttons. A little bit different color. Actually has a pretty snug fit to it. Has just enough screen protection on all sides. You can also see the metal ring that goes around the cameras on the back, so pretty good protection there. The buttons have some nice clickiness to them. They also seem to stick out plenty there on the sides, so you don't really have to look to find where they're located. Nice and large opening for the charging port and the S Pen as well. Weighs about 30 grams for the case itself, so easily one of the lighter cases out there. You don't get a magnet with this one, but of course it does work with wireless charging. I feel like if you're looking for a silicone case, it's going to be pretty tough to beat this one from Samsung. Overall, just a nice thin case with pretty good grip as well. Now this one here is called Kindsuit or Kindsuit. It's basically a leatherette style of case from Samsung. They have several different colors. The one shown here is camel. I also got the gray color because I wasn't sure which one I would like better. It has a really nice and soft microfiber material on the inside. You can sort of feel the leather texture there on the outside. It's got a little bit of flex to it, but not much. Pretty rigid overall. This one actually fits a little bit tighter than the silicone case. Pretty similar screen protection as the official silicone case. It also has that metal ring going around the cameras on the back. Kind of a tan with some orange to it. The metal buttons on here actually work really good. They have some nice clickiness to them and just feel like really nice quality as you would expect from Samsung. Nice and large opening for the charging port and the S Pen. You can just see the Samsung logo there on the back. Just a nice and clean design to it. I feel like the grip is pretty good on here. Probably not quite as good as the silicone case. At only 26 grams, you're not gonna get much lighter than that. I think they should have added a magnet to this one, but it still works good with wireless charging as well. But overall, just a really nice thin case from Samsung. Now, one of my favorites, as far as just how the case looks, is the Covert clear case by Ghostek. Actually comes in several different colors. The one shown here is called Smoke. It's got a real nice accent color going around the cameras. Of course, your magnet there in the center, but it's got a softer TPU material around the edges. It also has some nice texture on the sides. It has kind of a nice rugged look to it. Really nice and rigid. Harder plastic shell on the back. You can see it has a little bit of flex there on the sides because of the softer TPU material. It's got plenty of screen protection around the edges. It's got really good protection around the cameras. The buttons are covered by that soft TPU material. They stick out plenty, so they're easy to locate, and they've got some nice clickiness to them as well. The built-in magnet is plenty strong enough, passes the shake test for sure. Easily one of the largest openings for the S Pen, so that's good to see. Weighs about 41 grams for the case itself, so fairly lightweight for a more rugged case. Easily one of my favorite designs for a clear MagSafe case that I've tested so far. I feel like Urban Armor Gear has some of the best rugged looking cases. I really like a lot of their designs. The Essential Armor case comes in several different colors. The one shown here is an olive green color. It's got military grade drop protection. It's a thicker TPU material. You can see through a little bit there on the back. Has a little bit of flex to it, but it's still pretty rigid. You can see how flexible it is there on the sides. Probably more screen protection on this one than most of the other cases in this video. The power and volume buttons stick out really far on this one. The buttons are just nice and chunky, really easy to use, really easy to locate, and they have some nice clickiness to them as well. Kind of unique design here on the back where it goes completely around the bottom lens, but not the others. It's got good protection for the cameras, nice and large opening for the charging port. It has one of the largest openings for the S Pen. You can see it's tapered there on the edge. I feel like the grip on here is decent. Could be a little better in my opinion. I feel like the magnet could be a little bit stronger. It seems to work okay though. The case is definitely a little thicker, weighs 44 grams. You can see it's a little bit thicker on the corners. Overall, just a nice, somewhat rugged case from UAG. I think one of the best designs from OtterBox is the Symmetry series cactus leather. Kind of reminds me of the one from Samsung. As far as the leather texture on the back, has a soft, felt-like material on the inside. Really nice and rigid, doesn't really flex at all. It's got a super tight fit with this. You can see it doesn't even move on the sides hardly. It has a rougher texture to it. Plenty of screen protection all the way around. The power and volume buttons have a nice accent color, just like the ring around the cameras on the back. It really doesn't take much effort to use the buttons either. Nice and large opening for the S Pen and the charging port. I'm kind of surprised they don't put an OtterBox logo here on the back. Definitely just a nice clean design overall. Only weighs 41 grams, so pretty lightweight compared to other cases from OtterBox. The only thing it's missing is a magnet in my opinion, but seems to work pretty good when charging. Again, one of my favorite designs from OtterBox. You'll definitely want to check this one out. The Nano Pop case has always been one of my favorites. I don't know if they're getting rid of Caseology, but now they've got it under the Spigen brand. They've got 3 different color choices. The one shown here is called Blueberry Navy. I was hoping they would come out with some new colors. This one's not bad though. You can see this one has the MagFit charging in it as well. It does have a little bit of flex to it. I like they still do these little bumps on the edges to give it extra grip. Kind of gives it that sandpaper feel. Just a nice clean, smooth texture on the back. Pretty minimal screen protection. It's got a smooth TPU material over the power and volume buttons. The buttons work really good and have some nice clickiness to them, as you would expect from Spigen. Just enough protection on the back for the cameras, and I've always liked how they do the accent color there as well. Nice and large opening for the charging port. Extra large opening that's tapered for the S Pen. Easily one of the better ones out there when it comes to that. The magnet's really nice and strong. So of course it works good with wireless charging. It weighs 47 grams, so pretty good considering this is a thicker case with the magnet. The Nano Pop case is still one of my favorites. That's now from Spigen instead of Caseology. Now, one of my favorite MagSafe cases is by Torras. The main reason I like theirs is the texture that they have around the edges. It's usually a little softer, a little grippier. This one also has a little bit of texture there. Just always feels a little bit better as far as texture and grippiness. You can see kind of frosted there on the back. Really nice and rigid, doesn't really flex much. Has a little bit of flex there on the sides, but not too bad. It's got plenty of screen protection on all sides. You'll also notice this one has a built-in metal kickstand at the bottom. And it's really rigid. You can pretty much use it at any angle. I feel like the power and volume buttons stick out just enough. Also has some nice clickiness to them. Probably some of the easiest buttons to use too. Nice protection around the cameras on the back. Definitely one of the best as far as the opening for the S Pen. It's nice and large, easy to get the S Pen out. It's got a nice and strong magnet on the back, so pretty easy to use this with the MagSafe accessories. It is a little bit heavier with the kickstand, weighs about 52 grams. Overall, just a really nice MagSafe case with really nice grip from Torras. The Pathfinder case by UAG is another case that I really like the design. It's somewhat rugged, but still fairly thin. Comes in a few different colors. The one shown here is called Active Neon Case. Even has a matching lanyard. Really nice and rigid design. Doesn't really flex at all. I like how they do the ridges on the sides. Definitely helps give it better grip. Power and volume buttons stick out really far on this one. Super easy to use. Has a softer TPU material around the edges. Plenty of screen protection on all sides. Nice and large opening for the charging port as well. Probably one of the largest openings for the S Pen. Really easy to get to. A little more unique design around the cameras. It looks like you've got plenty of protection there. They also make where the magnet is nice and bright in case you don't know where it is. It seems like the magnet is strong enough on here. So of course it's going to work with MagSafe accessories. It weighs about 47 grams for the case itself, so it's got a little bit of weight to it. I like how you can see through on the back, so it's going to look different depending on which color of phone you have. Overall, just a really nice, somewhat rugged case by UAG. As soon as Poetic came out with a neon case a couple years ago, I feel like it's their best case that they make. I also like you can get several different colors. There's a couple that have a magnet built in. Personally, I would just put a magnet in all their cases. They've got several different colors. The one shown here is called military green. It's also got military grade drop protection. It's a hybrid case where you've got silicone on the inside, harder plastic shell on the back. So it's real rigid once you put it together. You can see there's just a little bit of flex on the sides, not much though. You can see it's got good screen protection. Also has a nice lip going around the cameras on the back, so plenty of protection there. I also like this accent color going around the edges, sort of a goldish green color. You've also got a little bit of silicone poking through towards the bottom as well. You can see they have separate buttons for the power and volume, covered in silicone. Really nice job on those. Doesn't take much effort to use. They also seem to stick out plenty there on the sides, so you don't really have to look to find where they're located. Good size opening for the charging port, extra large for the S Pen. Pretty easy to get to the S Pen as well. Overall, just a nice clean design. It seems to work pretty good with wireless charging. The case weighs about 60 grams, so definitely a little bit heavier and just a nice rugged, yet still fairly thin case from Poetic. Now if you want the thinnest and lightest case out of all these, the Pitaka carbon fiber case has a built-in magnet. It's also scratch resistant. It's super thin, scratch resistant as well. They have a couple other colors. This one's just black with gray. You can see it's super rigid, doesn't really flex at all with this one. This is definitely what you call minimal protection. You can see it just barely has some screen protection there, almost razor thin. You can also see the power and volume buttons are exposed. Kind of risky to me if you drop the phone and it hits right there. So you can't get easier than this when it comes to using the power and volume buttons because there's nothing covering them. Probably one of the largest openings for the charging port. You don't really need that big of an opening for the S Pen considering the material is so thin. You can feel the carbon fiber texture a little bit there on the back. It actually has some nice grip to it. This is probably one of the few that get this close around the cameras on the back. I also like the silver accent color. As you can see, only 26 grams. You can't get much lighter than that. Probably the strongest magnet out of all these cases, mainly because the material is so thin. Again, probably the thinnest and lightest case that you'll find for the S25 Ultra. The Spigen Thin Fit Mag Fit case comes in black, or the one shown here is abyss green. On the inside you can see where the magnet is located. It's got a softer TPU material around the edges, so it flexes a little bit. Pretty rigid overall though. Has just enough screen protection all the way around. Volume and power buttons stick out just enough. They've got some nice clickiness to them. I always feel like Spigen does a really nice job with their buttons. You've also got just enough screen protection there on the back for the cameras. I'm not sure why, but there's not that many companies that go in between the cameras, so you're probably going to get lint and dirt in there. Probably one of the better ones as far as the S Pen opening. You can see it's tapered around the edges. Nice and large opening for the charging port as well. Fairly smooth texture to it, almost a soft touch material on it, but not quite. Weighs about 42 grams. Not bad, but I was thinking it was a little bit lighter than that. plenty strong enough for the magnet on the back, so it should work good with MagSafe accessories. I kind of wish they had different color options, but overall, really nice thin case by Spigen. Now, if you really don't want to cover the back of your phone, the official clear case from Samsung that has MagSafe charging, it's super rigid, doesn't really flex at all. It's even a harder plastic around the edges. The only part that's not covered, it's all open there on the bottom for the charging port, speaker, and your SIM card. It's a little risky if you drop your phone and hit it right there. But I gotta say, this case looks really good in person. Probably the closest you can get to having a case on that doesn't look like it has a case. Also has a silver ring around the cameras on the back. The buttons probably stick out just far enough so you can find where they're located. The buttons are covered by a softer TPU material. Pretty minimal screen protection. To me, it's a little slippery on the edges. This is probably for people that don't drop their phone very often. They just want a little extra protection. Pretty easy to get to the S pin on here as well. The magnet is plenty strong enough for my shake test, so it's gonna work good with MagSafe accessories. Only weighs 37 grams, so easily one of the lighter cases out there. So if you're looking for a clear case, this is probably one of the best looking, in my opinion. The Rinke Fusion case is another all clear option with MagSafe charging. I probably like this better than the official Samsung case. You can even do a matte clear. There's also one without the magnet and a matte clear option as well. I like this one a little better because it's got the softer TPU material around the edges. Pretty minimal screen protection. Really nice and clean design here on the back, even though the magnet does cover up Samsung a little bit. I like how they put a little texture on the power button. The buttons have some nice clickiness to them as well. Just enough protection for the cameras on the back. It's got a nice and large opening for the charging port. Pretty simple to get the S Pen in and out as well. The magnet seems to be plenty strong enough on the back, so it's gonna work good with MagSafe accessories. Only weighs about 37 grams, so one of the lighter cases out there. I think one way they could improve on this case if they added a little bit of texture towards the bottom where you grip the phone. Other than that, pretty nice job by Rinke. Probably one of the better options out there if you're looking for a clear case with MagSafe charging, in my opinion. I didn't realize this, but apparently Spigen makes a silicone case now. This one also has the MagSafe charging. It also comes in a sapphire blue, natural titanium, or the one shown here is black. It has a nice microfiber material on the inside, smoother soft touch material on the outside. It does have a little bit of flex to it. Pretty snug fit overall. Also has just enough screen protection all the way around. I think the power and volume buttons could stick out a little bit more, but not bad. Looks like just enough protection for the cameras on the back. I still think the cases should go all the way around each lens, but maybe that's just me. The buttons are really nice on here, as you would expect from Spigen. I kind of wish they had more color options. Overall, really nice, clean design to it. Easily one of the better ones out there as far as the S Pen opening. Overall, has pretty good grip to it. Also has a spot on the side for a lanyard. Magnet seems like it's plenty strong enough on the back, so of course it's going to work with wireless charging. Weighs about 40 grams for the case itself, so it's a little heavier since it has the magnet on the back. Overall, just a really nice silicone case that's got MagSafe charging by Spigen. Probably one of the most rugged cases out of all of these. Comes in a few different colors. The one shown here is called Gildan, or as I like to call it, green. Is the Unicorn Beetle Mag XT from Supcase. It's MagSafe compatible. It also has a built-in kickstand that also covers up the cameras. It's got military grade drop protection. You can see it's really nice and rigid. Really snug fit. It doesn't flex at all on the sides. Plenty of screen protection on the front. Also has some ridges on the side, which give it a little extra grip as well. I really like the design for the buttons, which are the same color as the back of the phone, and they've got some nice clickiness to them. I really like the military style look to this. Definitely looks nice and rugged. You can sort of see how thick the case is, where the S Pen and the charging port is. It's still pretty easy to get the S Pen out. Inside the lens cover is actually a soft felt-like material. Probably the best protection as far as the cameras on the back as well. The hinge is super rigid, so you can use it at pretty much any angle. You can see how strong the magnet is on the back. Picks the phone right up. And of course, it works good with wireless charging. It is one of the heaviest cases at 79 grams, but probably has some of the best protection as well. Probably one of the better rugged cases that I've seen by Supcase. I didn't realize it, but apparently Rinke makes a case now called Alice. Not sure who's naming these. Personally, I would pick something that everyone can pronounce, but maybe that's just me. Seems like a really nice hybrid case where you have silicone on the inside, harder plastic shell on the back. It's really nice and rigid once you put it together. Definitely has a little more rugged design to it, kind of a soft touch material here on the back. I like that they put the texture on the sides to give it a little extra grip. You can see the MagSafe ring on the back also works as a kickstand, so you can use it in portrait or landscape. I'm not sure why more companies don't do this. It's one of the few that actually goes all the way around the cameras on the back. Pretty cool design for the power and volume buttons. They also stick out plenty, so they're easy to locate. And they've got some nice clickiness to them, so that's good to see. Plenty of screen protection all the way around on this one as well. Doesn't really flex much on the sides, so that's good to see. Also pretty nice how they have it tapered around the S Pen, so that's easy to get out. Nice and large opening for the charging port. Pretty small Rinke logo down there at the bottom. You can see the magnet's plenty strong enough on here. So it's gonna work good with MagSafe accessories and of course wireless charging. Obviously it weighs a little bit more since you've got the magnet and two pieces that go together at about 60 grams. Really, I just think they need more color options for this case, but overall, really nice job. Probably one of the better, rugged, yet somewhat slim cases that I've tested. The Spigen Ultra Hybrid MagFit case is another good option if you're looking for a MagSafe case. It's kind of frosted there on the back. There's a few different versions of this. This one here is called Frost Black. This one's pretty nice and rigid. A little bit more flexible there on the sides. It's got just enough screen protection all the way around. I like how they put the texture on the power button. The buttons have some good clickiness to them, as expected by Spigen. You can see on the sides sort of a smoke black color. Pretty good grip overall. Looks like it's got just enough protection for the cameras on the back. It's nice that it's frosted on the back. You don't get as much fingerprints that way. Kind of a matte finish to it as well. Large opening for the charging port. I feel like Spigen does a really nice job with the S Pen, how it's tapered. So it's real easy to get the S Pen out. And of course, it's gonna work with wireless charging and MagSafe accessories as well. Weighs about 44 grams for the case itself, so a little bit of weight, but not too bad. Overall, just a really nice thin MagSafe case from Spigen. Now the Zag Luxe case is another nice lightweight option. Comes in a few different colors, river blue, clear, and the one shown here is black. I really like how they put the texture here on the back. It just gives it a little extra grip when holding it. Plus on the edges, you have a bunch of little bumps for extra grip. I feel like more companies should do that. Plenty of screen protection there all the way around. Kind of a shiny TPU material for the buttons. Probably one of the few cases I've tested where the power button doesn't have much clickiness to it. Volume buttons seem okay though. Probably just enough protection for the cameras on the back. Overall, just a really nice clean design to it. Probably one of the best as far as the S Pen opening. It's just really simple to get the S Pen in and out. Nice and large opening for the charging port as well. Unfortunately, you don't get a magnet on this one, but it still works pretty good with wireless charging. You can see it's a little bit heavier at 48 grams. And if you need a case with a really good grip on the sides, you'll definitely want to check this one out. This MagSafe case by ESR is another good clear case option. They have a few different variations. This one's called Clear Black. Pretty rigid case overall, does have a little bit of flex on the sides. You've also got some extra protection on the corners as well. Probably just enough screen protection. I feel like the buttons stick out just far enough. Probably some of the better buttons as far as functionality goes. Really nice job on the S Pen opening. Really easy to get that out. Looks like you've got just enough protection for the cameras on the back as well. I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of opening for the cameras, just because you can get a lot of extra stuff in there like lint and dirt. But at least it has decent protection. Really nice matte finish along the edges. Actually has pretty good grip to it. Nice and strong magnet on the back. That's always good to see. So it should work good with most MagSafe accessories. Weighs about 37 grams, so definitely one of the lighter cases out there. Overall, just a really nice MagSafe clear case by ESR. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.